Is this title clickbait? A little bit. Hello there, my lovely Legionnaires. I've been wanting to try something like Plague of Gripes series Art Gripes for a little while, mainly because quite a few of you have been talking about how you could listen to me podcast about basically anything. So we're gonna put that to the test. I just had a thought in my brain and a conversation in my heart, so here we go. I've decided I'm just gonna be rambling about something small and stupid that's been scratching at the back of my brain while I draw, so welcome to the first episode of Yap Sessions, I guess. Title's a little bonkers, I'm aware of that, but there's this thing that's been in the back of my brain, like a cat toy stuck under the couch for a little while, and I've just been kind of wanting to talk about it. Basically, I'm getting really exasperated by this weird trend in modern, I guess, reviewing, where people demand an acknowledgement of media's quality, namely what they think of its quality. I'm getting more and more weary of it, personally. Every time I see some film school wannabe demand that I acknowledge the faults in things I like when I recommend it to other people, it makes me want to double down on my belief that Sharknado should have swept at Sundance, and they don't know anything about real cinema. I mean, like, everything has its faults, right? Yeah, I'm capable of seeing them. But the nail in my shoe is when I enjoy something and all I can hear is fucking nobody is telling me, oh, you need to qualify that it has flaws, you know, nothing's a perfect 10, some things are 9.5, the fuck I do, okay? The fuck I do. I don't need to qualify my enjoyment of something with asterisks because you don't know how to have any fun, alright? Let me give you a few examples, see if this sort of makes any sense. So, unlike some people, I always liked Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Violet. For reference, first Pokemon game I ever beat was Silver when I was a little kid. It was the first Pokemon game I ever played. It was a very formative experience for me. So to find the kind of things that I enjoy was a big one, you know? The second Pokemon game I ever beat was Pokemon Sword. I have a hard time beating RPGs in general because of the time sink. My autism kind of has me bounce from thing to thing. I pick things up and I put things down. It's why I, for the most part, enjoy like a tight 7-8 hour experience. But I was so drawn into the characters in Sword that I just didn't want to ever put it down. Now, Leon's my favorite champion. You can't convince me otherwise. I'll put you in the device and have you hit with sticks. I don't care. I don't care. Meanwhile, I've had to listen to dickheads constantly talk about how they weren't satisfied with their experience, and so anyone who was having fun was choosing to actively ignore reality. You were so fucking delusional. How could you possibly? And now, people are talking about how good it was in the face of Violet, and I have some absolutely earth-shattering news for you. Nobody cares! Listen, you can dislike something all you want. I'm a renowned and seasoned hater. Some of these Yap sessions are going to consist of me being a renowned and seasoned hater. But, like, what I'm not gonna do is pretend that our dear Ellie Momelli needs antipsychotics because she likes Naruto. You know what I mean? It's this notion that people have that if someone said they disagreed and are having fun, that they're drowning in copium, because not every single ounce of praise is filtered through comments about graphical performance, or render distance, or I don't care. Sure, Sword could have been 1080-60. Would I have liked that more? Sure, absolutely. But I'm here for this new era of more human-focused Pokemon games, where we're making the characters that we run into more fully fleshed out people. Carmen, Kieran, two of my favorite characters in all of Pokemon. Grusha's one weird speech during his gym battle has me fascinated about his backstory. I'm sure something terrible happened to this poor boy. Leon is the greatest champion we've ever had, and I swear on everything that I am, if I hear one more of you talk shit about Hop or how, I'm going to steal every single battery in your home. I'm so tired of it. I'm so fucking tired of it. And you know what? Star Wars is another good one. So I'm new to the whole thing, right? My favorite movie's Phantom Menace. Because I remember watching it in theaters, and it was my childhood Star Wars. So long ago. But I watched Rebels for the first time this year, so I'm learning the ropes. I'm here to declare with authority on Jack Kirby's internet, though. I like the sequel trilogy. Shut up. I'm so tired of listening to sweaty nerds talk about how it didn't live up to the bullshit they wrote in their fanfiction, and how it wasn't like the books that some of you need to remember were never canon. You know? I'm so tired of it. I loved Luke being tired and grumpy after all these years instead of being just another stoic Jedi. You know? I loved Poe and Finn's dynamic. I thought that was cool. I think the Holdo maneuver is cool, and I'm so tired of every one of you aspiring astrophysicists, so all of you can just cram it. I don't care. You don't know how anything works. And I can't listen to people who think that because it wasn't what they wanted, they're entitled to take their fun from others. You can't say so much as, oh man, it was really cool to see Mark Hamill back as Luke, without having some moron who thought Ahsoka's tube top was a good idea actuallying you anymore. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it, and I'm sick of you. Like I've said, I don't particularly mind a dissenting opinion, right? Another Star Wars example, Justin and I are fighting to the death about how good Ahsoka was. He adored it. It was everything he wanted. It was the coolest shit in the world. I thought it was the weakest show so far. We disagree, we've had conversations about that disagreement, but I'm not going to tell him that because I had problems with it, he isn't allowed to have fun. You know what I mean? Circling back to the crack that I made at Ellie, the two of us are that way too. Naruto is something that's really important to her, right? She enjoys it with her friends. I think it's what turned the anime community into sweaty power scaling neckbeards, but I'm not going to force her to admit that I'm right. You know what I mean? She sees things in it, I just don't. And that's fine. We have different values in storytelling. There's nothing wrong with that. I can hate all I want around her, and she can tell me that I'm a pretentious snob, and we can both be right, you know? God, Marvel movies are another good one. I've had a few people in my streams make comments when I talk about how much I like Marvel movies, and I love them, actually. You can talk all the shit you want. I don't care. I'm still having fun. She-Hulk was good. I can't wait for more when they finally find her footing and do more with her as a character. And this gotcha that these people always have is that I say I haven't seen the last few. Spoiler alert, dipshit, it's because there isn't scarcity anymore. I've hit a point where I don't have to go out of my way for heroes I don't like and have to worry they won't make more of the ones I do like. It was never a big Thor girl, for example, but I ended up watching every Thor movie, and I enjoyed my time at all of them. I'm not worried that the studio will shutter, so I can pass on Ant-Man or Captain Marvel when they don't look interesting, and I can keep waiting for Echo and Daredevil because I like the street levels more. I understand that a lot of people are currently experiencing superhero burnout, and that's fair. I'm not saying that you can't want to be done with something, but I'm so tired of you're experiencing burnout and you're tired of this thing that's everywhere. And instead of internalizing that and being like, well, I guess I'm just not having fun, I should maybe take my step away, you take it out on people who are still having fun. You know what I mean? Like, some people are just gonna enjoy everything regardless. And I'm so tired of people acting like they're better than everyone else because they're tired. And there's also this notion, right, that there's a right way to enjoy something, or that there's correct media to enjoy. I keep hearing this fan fiction versus book debate. I hear it run in circles every few years, and I think that's a good starting point. Every couple of years, some sad middle-aged brunette who drinks wine in her bathtub alone wants to pretend that she's better than everyone else and talk about how fanfic doesn't count as real reading. You know, as someone who read Fahrenheit 451 on an airplane to MomoCon for fun, and has incredibly strong classic literature opinions, such as, like, the fact that I think Catcher in the Rye is terrible, that's the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard. I'm so tired. It's so fucking stupid. It's so ridiculous. I've read fanfiction that has left me sobbing so hard I couldn't breathe, and classic literature has put me to sleep. I can't read anything written before the invention of indoor plumbing because the writing style is so dry that I have to be fucking intubated. I mean, the reverse is true. I've read some fanfiction that has gone on for so long and has just been constant piles of nothing, but I've also read classic literature that's, like, redefined the way that I see anything. I just don't think one medium is inherently better than another. Writing is writing, reading is reading. And I'm so tired of book talk girlies pretending that they're better than the fanfiction crowd because their Omegaverse dark mafia romance is better than mine because you had to pay for it and look the Barnes & Noble cashier in the eye while you got it. If I wanted to listen to a dark-haired man growl inappropriate things at a redhead half their height while they broke them in half for 5 pages, I'll read it on AO3, where it's not padded to hell with badly written dialogue, and it's Frank Castle plowing Matt Murdock, thank you very much. And don't fucking get me started on the way men are about video games. I know some of you stupid motherfuckers, you just need to get your controllers taken away. I'm so tired of it. I'm so tired of listening to dudes talk shit about Pokemon, or Genshin, or Honkai, and be like, oh, it's the same game over and over. Oh, you're spending all this money on fucking JPEGs, whatever, blah. You morons will pay $60 every year for the same video game too, but it's different. It's different for you because you get a new gun when it happens too. Maybe I like the formula with the funny little guys. Maybe I like to get my new Blorbos every couple of weeks. Maybe if I'm unsatisfied with one aspect of something, I find a thing that does it for me, like an adult, instead of whining about it like a child. I'm not gonna be crying about the lack of cosmic horror in my Pokemon when I can grab Kirby like that for a real man. Because, that's another thing, too, is this constant idea that, like, the thing that I once liked, I'm not having fun with it anymore. My tastes have grown, my tastes have changed. I want to do a new thing. I want to have it do this. I want to have it do X. I want to have it do Y. And then they get mad at the original thing for not doing it. You've changed. Your tastes have changed. And there's nothing wrong with that. My tastes have changed. I used to hate Resident Evil. I used to think Resident Evil was a sad excuse for Silent Hill. I thought it was like Silent Hill's sad, weird older cousin. And then I grew up, I learned what camp meant, and I started having a lot more fun with those things, Your tastes grow and develop as you do. And it's nuts for you to think that just because you've changed, a multi-million-dollar industry that's not for you anymore has to change with you. It's so crazy. And then on top of all of that, there's this weird idea that I keep seeing in certain circles that things have to be Sundance winners in order for them to be enjoyable. Things that are silly and badly constructed can be fun and are just as worth your time as something deeply enriching. You don't have to go out of your way to be mentally and emotionally challenged by a piece of media every day of your life. That shit has value, but it's exhausting. As somebody who reads and partakes in a lot of stuff like that, I cut every Chainsaw Man that I watch with a Yuru camp. Because sometimes you just need something that's a little fun, something that's a little lighter, something you don't have to think too hard about. And those things still have inherent value. They're not lesser because they don't, they're not Sundance winners, like I said earlier. One of the happiest memories I have, for example, right, is my late grandmother I was showing her Sharknado, because she was a lit teacher, she's a big Shakespeare fan, she was the one who put me on, like, reading classic lit and all this shit, and I thought she would have fun watching just a bad movie. And the two of us had some of the most fun I've ever had watching a movie with her. Another one, I loved watching Birdemic with Brooke and Justin when I first moved in. I got more enjoyment out of sitting there listening to Brooke yell about how bad the editing was in that movie than, like, half of the fucking sad Werner Herzog fucking Oscar bait bullshit that I see every year. You know what I mean? The Room's a cult classic for a reason. Army of Darkness is made on the budget of 2 cans of beans and a string, but it's one of the most famous horror movies of all time. Clash of the Titans got a remake in the modern era, for God's sake, and guess what? We loved it just as much as we did back in the old days, because the effects still sucked, but for a new generation of sucky graphics. You know what I mean? Something doesn't have to be perfect to bring joy. Some things have entire dedicated fan bases because they bring joy and fun to people because they're bad. There's a huge video game scene around games like Sonic 06 because people either played it in their youth or because the experience of shattering it over their thigh like dry sticks is the most fun they've ever had with video games. There's a huge scene in Japan of people who adore what they call kusoge, or just bad video games. It's a whole different challenge to work around things that don't work. I've watched Life Arrow play the Silver campaign in Sonic 06 so many times, I have half the jokes memorized, and that video is 2 hours long. I love that. I love watching people enjoy their time with something that sucks, because there's merit in learning how something doesn't work, and there's merit in just having fun with something that's earnest and silly and a little over the top, you know what I mean? I guess fundamentally, wrapping this whole tangent up, I just think it's that people are becoming more and more judgmental about shit that just doesn't matter. You know what I mean? It's all fun and games to hate on shit for funnies. I hate on shit for funnies. I'm later in this series when I do more of these random tirades, I'm going to hate on shit for funnies. But I feel like a lot of people take that shit seriously as a heart attack. If it doesn't hurt anyone, you can't force me to give a shit. I'll like the things I like and vibe with goofy, basic cringe things that brings me a little scrap of dopamine as much as I want. And you can't stop me. And I'll continue to be like, this thing sucks. I don't like this thing. But I'll never be mean to the people who do like the thing, because even if I don't like the thing brought somebody joy. It brought somebody some kind of happiness. It's a core memory for somebody else. And I think that's the thing I want to keep this consistent behavior with. You know what I mean? I think that it's perfectly okay to think a thing sucks. I don't like the trend that we're going to, where we're treating the people who made the thing, or the people who enjoy the thing, worse for liking it. I don't know. I think we can all come together over both good and bad media. I think we can all have fun. I don't know. I think that's pretty cool.